Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take the sources you give us and really try to pull out the core insights for you.
And today, well, we're diving into a really unsettling one. Dennis Rader. Most people know him as BTK.
Bind, torture, kill. Yeah. Our source today is excerpts from a YouTube video by Tang Macaporn. It gives a pretty detailed look.
It really does. And I think what's crucial right from the start is understanding this huge gap. This chasm between how he appeared and the awful reality.
That duality is what's so striking, isn't it? I mean, you look at him on the surface, it seems like a totally normal guy, husband, father, involved in the community.
Yeah, sticking all the boxes.
But underneath, for more than 30 years, he was hiding this monstrous secret. Getting away with being a serial killer. It just shows how deceptive appearances can be.
Completely. So our goal here for you is to really unpack the key things from the source. Try to understand, how Dennis Rader could become BTK.
Yeah, give you a clear picture based on the info we've got. It's a tough one.
Okay, so the basics. Dennis Rader, born March 9th, 1945, Pittsburgh, Kansas.
Right. His parents were William and Dorothy Rader, married back in '43. Family roots trace back to Europe before they settled in Kansas.
And Dennis wasn't an only child. He had 3 younger brothers, Paul, William, and Jeffrey.
His dad, William, started out fixing radios, then got a job at the power company. Seems like they were doing okay financially.
Yeah, the source paints them as, pretty well-off, respected folks in town. Very religious, too, evangelical Christians. Looked like a stable, typical Midwestern family from the outside.
And Dennis himself, as a kid, seemed unremarkable, really. Quiet. A bit shy, maybe.
Didn't get into trouble, did the usual stuff, Boy Scouts, church youth group, grades were just average.
The source says he felt closer to his dad, even though his dad worked a lot. Described him as friendly, helpful.
His mom, Dorothy, though.
Yeah.
That picture's a bit more complicated. She worked, had her own interests. Dennis apparently felt she wasn't emotionally there for him.
Which is interesting because neighbors and relatives remembered the family as warm. Yeah.
Right. It really highlights how different people can experience the same family life. Perception versus maybe reality, or just different realities for different members.
Then the family moved to Park City, Kansas, described as sort of flat farmland, a cow town.
And it's around this time, according to the source, that things start to shift internally for Dennis. He mentions this odd incident, his mom cleaning, her ring gets stuck.
And he was fascinated by her helplessness. That triggered his first sexual thoughts.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's what the source points to, and it connects that to corporal punishment from his mother, spanking specifically. It suggests this link started forming early on between, discipline, maybe control, and sexual arousal.
Disturbing. An early sign of paraphilia, associating pain or control with pleasure.
Exactly. These complex psychological things often have roots way back. School years, though, still outwardly pretty normal. Shy kid, didn't cause trouble.
But inside, darker stuff was brewing. Around age 10, this fantasy about a girl, Arlene Hevner.
Saw her in a Mickey Mouse outfit, imagined her bound, captive. It's a really chilling detail for a 10-year-old. Shows that fixation on domination was already there.
And it escalated, right. Cutting out pictures of women from magazines.
And drawing ropes, ligatures on them, fantasizing about controlling them. And it wasn't just fantasy.
The underwear fetish. Stealing women's underwear, sometimes wearing it.
And then the animal cruelty, strangling dogs and cats. He apparently knew, even then, that something was really wrong with his thinking.
But felt he couldn't tell anyone.
Yeah.
That's awful. We hear that a lot. Sadly, early animal cruelty is a red flag.
Definitely. That silence, that isolation. It probably just let those impulses fester and grow, No checks, no intervention, just this secret world getting darker.
Okay, moving into his teens, 1960, he's 15. There's this canoeing incident.
Right, helped save his partner in strong currents, and the source says he, enjoyed the praise, the attention.
Could that be an early sign? That need for recognition, maybe twisting later into wanting notoriety as BTK?
It's definitely something to think about, that feeling of being a hero, being important. Maybe it planted a seed for wanting acknowledgement somehow, even in a terrible way later on.
Around the same time, he gets into true crime magazines.
Yeah, specifically drawn to cases with female victims, bound, confined, found it pleasurable.
So it's like he's feeding the fantasies he already has, finding stuff that validates those dark interests.
Exactly. It creates this kind of feedback loop. Media reinforcing the preoccupations with control, restraint, vulnerability, specifically with women.
High school, he works part-time, gets more withdrawn. The fantasies about binding women get stronger. fueled by those True Detective magazines.
Graduates in 63, goes off to Kansas Wesleyan College. Being away from home seems like it ramped things up.
Started keeping a diary of the violent fantasy.
Yeah, documenting them. And it wasn't just thoughts anymore, he started acting out.
Breaking into homes, small thefts, voyeurism, peeping. Found it thrilling. Wrote about that too.
But his grades tanked, left college after just 1 year.
Then he joins the Air Force. Serves in different places, gets promotions, medals even.
Which shows he could, follow rules, function in that kind of structured system, at least on the outside.
Military service is also where he had his first sexual experiences with prostitutes.
And the key thing there, according to the source, was his interest in binding them. He eventually found someone willing, so BDSM, bondage specifically.
But no violence against them at that point.
Seems not. The focus was on the binding itself, the dominance maybe, in a transactional setting. Not yet the kind of violence we see later.
He was also deep into voyeurism, though. Stalking women, watching them at home.
Which is a recognized paraphilic disorder, voyeuristic disorder. He even admitted stalking his old elementary school teacher.
And there was that incident. Self-bondage, autoeroticism after spying on her.
Yeah, tying the voyeurism directly to the restraint and control themes again. It's all interconnected.
Okay, so 1970, he's out of the Air Force, back in Wichita living with his parents. Works a couple of jobs.
A grocery store, then Coleman, the camping gear place. Then he meets Paula Dietz.
Younger woman, shared his faith. They get married. He's 26, she's 23.
She works as a bookkeeper. And a couple of years into the marriage, he goes back to school. Community college first, studying electronics.
And the commute, that becomes significant.
Seems so. The source says driving back and forth gave him time to really dwell on fantasies about abduction, assault, getting more intense, more specific.
Continues education at Wichita State, gets a part-time job.
Yeah.
But then the oil crisis hits.
Gets laid off.
Yeah.
And that seems to have hit him hard. Depression, maybe a real turning point.
Because the source says around then, while driving Paula to her job, he starts spending hours
fantasizing about capture, torture, murder, seeing it as a way to find fulfillment, to fill the joy. That's a chilling phrase.
Yeah. It sounds like the final shift from dark fantasy to actual intent.
And that leads directly to the Otero family. They move into his neighborhood, Spanish-speaking family.
He starts watching them. Specifically targets the mother, Julie, and the daughter, Josephine, who is only 11.
Meticulously plans it. Assembles what he called his hit kit. Gun, knife, rope, tools. Very calculated.
January 15th, 1974. He makes his move, cuts the phone line.
He thought only Julie and Josephine would be home, but the father, Joseph, and the son, Joey, 9 years old, were there too. And a dog.
So his plan changes on the fly. Forces his way in, threatens them with a gun, says he just wants money, food.
Makes Joseph put the dog outside, then binds them all in a bedroom, puts a hood on Joseph.
Joseph struggles, and Rader strangles him with a rope. That's the first murder victim.
Then he strangles Julie. She apparently passed out, came to, pleaded for her kids. He strangled her again to death.
Then Josephine, strangled until unconscious. Took Joey to his bed, plastic bag over his head, strangled him, tied him to the headboard, watched him suffocate.
Just horrific. Then discovers Josephine is still alive, takes her to the basement, rope around her neck, hangs her from a pipe, tells her she'll go to heaven.
Removes her clothes, spends time with her body. Then starts cleaning up, removing evidence.
Steals Joseph's watch, their car. Drives it to a store, leaves it, throws the keys on the roof, walks home.
Realizes he left his knife, drives his own car back to get it. Incredible risk.
And later that day, the other Otero kids come home, find their family. Unimaginable.
Just a few months later, April 4th, 1974, the attack on Catherine Bright.
Yeah, he'd stalked her, breaks into her house, hides for hours, but she comes home with her brother Kevin. Plan disrupted again.
Tells him he's a wanted criminal, needs money, their car, forces them into a bedroom, tries to get Kevin to tie up Catherine.
Ties up Kevin, and as he's moving him, Kevin fights back. Rader shoots him in the face.
They struggle more. Rader shoots Kevin again in the head. Thinks he's dead, then attacks Catherine with a knife.
But Kevin, incredibly, despite being shot in the head, escapes and gets help.
Rader flees, leaves tools behind again, potential evidence, goes home, cleans up, picks up Paula from work like nothing happened.
Catherine dies at the hospital. Kevin survives, miraculously. The case gets huge publicity. Police have evidence, but can't link it to Rader.
They question 3 other guys, but nothing connects.
Then, October 1974, the first letter. To the Wichita Eagle newspaper.
Someone found it wedged in a library book, right?
Yeah. The letter claims responsibility for the Oteros, clears those 3 suspects, and it includes details only the killer could know.
Like how the victims were positioned, tied up. Joey tied to the headboard, Josephine hanging, Joseph and Julie's positions, what they were wearing or not wearing.
Mentions the radio playing, sodas, the kids eating lunch, the stolen watch, the car being taken, specific details.
As he feels remorse but also wants fame. Signs it, BTK, bind them, torture them, kill them.
That letter terrified Wichita. Police had to warn the public. BTK had announced himself.
After that initial burst, things go quiet for a while. His daughter, Carrie, is born in 78.
Source suggests he was busy, work, studies at Wichita State. But the urge didn't disappear.
In April 79, it comes back. He targets a widow, Anna Williams, 63 years old.
Breaks into her house, waits. But she doesn't come home when he expects. He gives up.
But leaves things behind.
Yeah, steals some stuff, but leaves a box with a poem and a note describing what he would have done to her.
The poem. Expressing the desire to bind her, control her. Chilling.
Anna got the message. She moved away. Smart woman.
Rader graduates from Wichita State that June. Degree in Administration of Justice, ironically.
And to keep up appearances, he throws himself into church activities, leads a Boy Scout troop, builds trust. No one suspects a thing, not even his family.
Then, April 1985. He's 40 now. 6 years since the last known attempt or killing.
Takes the Boy Scouts camping, fakes a headache, leaves to get medicine.
But actually buys beer, spits it on your shirt to look sick.
Wow. Takes a taxi near his neighborhood, walks to the house of Marine Hedge, 53, another widow, breaks in, waits.
She comes home with a friend. Friend leaves. Then Rader attacks.
Strangles her in her bedroom, puts her body in the trunk of her car, drives it to his church basement.
Spends time with the body there, posing her, taking photos. In the church.
Yes. Then puts her back in the trunk, drives out to the country, dumps the body, drives her car back near her house, wipes it down, walks home.
Drives his own car back to the campsite. No one notices he was gone for hours. Incredible.
September 86. Vicky Wee Girl, 28 years old.
Pretends to be a phone repairman to get inside. Threatens her with a gun. Forces her to the bedroom.
She fights back, scratches him, says her husband will be home soon. He strangles her with a stocking.
Flees in her car. Her husband actually passes her car driving home, sees it, is confused.
Husband finds her dead. Their 2-year-old son is alive in the house. Police suspect BTK, but again, no solid proof. Suspicion falls on the husband for years.
Rader just abandons her car nearby after wiping it down.
1988, he gets fired from ADT, later works for the U.S. Census Bureau, travels around Kansas.
Early 91, he's 45, starts targeting older women. Source suggests maybe because he felt less physically strong.
Plausible. January 19th, 91, Dolores Davis, 62. Recent widow, lived near him.
Uses another Boy Scout outing as cover. Breaks into her house while she's reading in bed.
Waits till the lights go out, throws a rock at a window as a distraction. When she investigates, he strangles her.
Puts her body in his trunk, drives her car to an overpass, dumps it, then drives his car somewhere else to dump her body under a bridge. That's confusing.
Seems he moved her body twice. Took extensive photos of her body with his Polaroid before dumping it the final time.
Returns to the Boy Scout camp again, no suspicion, and the next day does something even stranger.
Goes into the woods near the camp, dresses in women's clothes and a mask, digs a shallow grave, lies in it, takes photos of himself bound.
Well, autoerotic asphyxiation maybe? Or just more ritualistic behavior?
Hard to say for sure, but definitely tied into those autoerotic and bondage themes. Extremely bizarre.
Then he becomes a compliance officer in Park City, enforces rules really strictly, apparently harassed a widow until she moved.
1996, his father dies, his mom goes into a nursing home, his kids grow up, move out, son joins the Marines, daughter gets married.
And with the kids gone, he gets bored. Wants to be BTK again.
Yeah, feels like people have forgotten him. Wants that attention, that persona back.
Which leads us to 2004, January. It's the 30th anniversary of the Otero murders.
And a book comes out about the BTK killer. This apparently angers Rader. He wants to control the story.
So he resurfaces, sends a letter to the Wichita Eagle, includes a copy of Vicky Wagerlow's driver's license.
Big news. FBI confirms BTK is back. Fear grips the city again.
May 2004 sends a coded letter, Zodiac symbols, to a TV station, trying to be like the Zodiac killer. Code wasn't cracked, though.
June leaves a package downtown. Letter describing the Otero murders again. Drawing of Josephine hanging.
A couple weeks later, another package at the library. Hints at more killings. Says he's getting older, maybe declining. Says he watches women, kids. More threats.
October 2004 starts this game with the police. Cryptic clues, like a scavenger hunt. Leaves a box with a Barbie doll, bound and hung, representing his victims.
This communication, this game, it gives the police their chance, right? Technology had advanced.
Hugely. And Rader makes a fatal mistake. He asks the police, essentially, if I send you a floppy disk, can you trace it?
And they told him no, it wasn't possible. A calculated risk on their part.
Seems so. Because he believed them. He sent a floppy disk, labeled Test Foggy for WPDR review.
Police check the metadata, find it was last used at Christ Lutheran Church, his church, and the last user ID, Dennis L. Rader.
Bingo. They contact his daughter, Carrie, get a DNA sample from her, compare it to DNA evidence from the crime scenes.
And it's a match.
February 25th, 2005, they arrest him on his way home for lunch.
Denies it at first.
Yeah, but when they hit him with the DNA evidence, he confesses. Over 30 hours of detailed confessions.
Charged with 10 counts of first-degree murder. Sentenced to life, no parole, end of the reign of terror.
Finally. But the question lingers. How does someone like that happen?
Looking back, the source highlights that perception of his mother being distant, and the link between the spankings and his arousal. That desire for control over women starting early.
That early association seems really significant. Shaping those atypical sexual interests, maybe driving the need for dominance that escalated into violence.
And the way he lived that double life.
Yeah.
Just blended in. Normal guy facade, monster underneath.
That compartmentalization is key. Building mental walls to keep the persona separate. It's how he avoided suspicion for so long.
The source brings up potential diagnoses. Antisocial personality disorder seems like a strong possibility.
Absolutely. The disregard for law, hurting people, animals, no remorse. It ticks a lot of boxes. Narcissistic personality disorder too, maybe?
The need for control, manipulating people, the leadership roles, the strictness as a compliance officer.
Yeah.
And definitely wanting fame, right? Writing to the police.
Yeah, that grandiosity. And maybe obsessive-compulsive personality disorder, the focus on order control, rigidity. The source is cautious, saying we can't diagnose, but those traits seem present.
Especially in the meticulous planning of the crimes.
Right. And the trigger for the first murders. Maybe that job loss was crucial. Gave him time, frustration built up. The commute became planning time.
And the gaps between killings. The souvenirs helped him relive the crimes, satisfy the urges temporarily.
Seems likely, using those trophies to feed the fantasy until the pressure built up again.
So that's the story of Dennis Rader, BTK. It's just profoundly disturbing. From the seemingly normal start to decades of terror, and then the capture through his own ego.
That contrast between the public face and the secret horror, possibly shaped by early life psychology, it's chilling. A stark reminder that this kind of darkness can hide in plain sight.
So, for you listening, maybe think about this.
Yeah.
Out of everything we discussed, the childhood, the fantasies, the double life, the need for control, what single aspect feels the most unsettling to you? The biggest clue to what he became?
And what does the fact that he got away with it for so long tell us about how these individuals can operate right under our noses? Something to consider. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.